It looks like we have everyone.
Thank you, Brad. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone making time to be with us this afternoon. My name is Betty Payne. I'm Director for Corporate Communications here at Eastman. We're going to provide you with an update on the information that we have at this hour, and then we will take questions. When we get to the question portion of this, if you will use the hand raise feature, we'll be sure to get your question. If you don't have that feature, please use the chat feature and enter your question, and we'll be sure to include it. This morning, a steam line failed at our Kingsport, Tennessee manufacturing site, and that event caused vibrations that were felt in the surrounding neighborhood, along with loud noises that were due to the release of heavy steam. 5 people on site experienced injuries. 3 were treated at Eastman Medical and have been released. 2 were taken to Holston Valley Medical Center, where they were also treated and released. Eastman's safety protocols were followed to assess and secure the area. There was no fire during this incident, but as outlined in site protocol, Eastman's fire department responded to the incident with assistance from the Kingsport Fire Department. And we are working to determine the cause and assess the impact to our operations. Now, there's been a lot of misinformation on social media today, and we wanted to make sure that we shared correct information about what happened in today's event. First of all, the loud noise and steam were caused by a high-pressure steam line failure. There were 5 injuries reported, and we are thankful that all have been treated and released. The debris that has resulted from this incident is currently being lab tested by our folks here at Eastman. We are also sending it off-site for third-party lab analysis. It'll take some time for us to get those results, and we will share those with you when we get them. We did ask people in our operations area to remain in their work areas during the event as we assess the situation. We did not issue a community shelter in place as there was no danger to the surrounding community. We do not use sirens on site any longer to notify the community. Anyone in the surrounding area should ensure that they are signed up to receive reverse 911 notifications from the city of Kingsport. So with me today is Michelle Cavanis, Vice President of Operations Excellence and Transformation here at Eastman. She is going to share with you some information from our operations team and answer questions as she can with the information that we have at this time. Michelle?
Thank you for joining us today. We realize an event such as this causes concern to our community neighbors, and we truly appreciate your cooperation as we work through this event. Safety is Eastman's top priority, and the company has a robust safety process in place to prevent impact to the community and environment in case of an unplanned event. At 7:30 this morning, we experienced a failure in a high-pressure steam line on site. We're working to determine exactly what happened and the cause. We are also working to assess the impact to operations. We lost power to the site after the incident, but operations were quickly and safely shut down. We're working now to reestablish power and utilities across the site, and will then work to begin safely restarting operations. As we do this, you may hear noise from occasional steam releases, but those should be more normalized releases and not like what was experienced during the event this morning. All personnel at Eastman's Kingsport site are doing a tremendous job in responding to today's events, and I want to thank our team for their response. Again, we appreciate your support during this time, and we apologize for the concern this has caused within the community.
Thanks, Michelle. We will continue to update you as we learn more, and in the meantime, please know that we are doing all that we can to conduct a safe and orderly assessment of the situation. I realize that you have questions, and we'll do what we can to answer those now with the time we have left. So, Brad, tell us if you have a question.
Yeah, please raise your hand. I see Julie from WCYB. Go ahead, Julie.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you tell me if this is the type of incident that is similar to the incident that you had several years ago that was an unplanned event as well?
I guess, Julie, can you clarify what incident you're referring to?
I believe it was in 2017, and it also required it was a disruption to the community, and it required the Kingsport Fire Department involvement as well. It was the last, what I would consider major event, unplanned event in Eastman.
Explosion.
Yeah, Julie, I can both events were unplanned, but this particular event was absolutely unrelated to the root causes of the event that was actually in that time frame you referenced. This was a failure in our utility system, and we're following investigation protocol as our community employees would expect, but root causes are completely unrelated.
Okay. And just to clarify, you said earlier there was no warning given to the community unless you are signed up for the reverse 911 system.
That's correct. We do not have on-site sirens as were here in the past. The notification system now comes through the reverse 911 system with the city.
And what time did that notification go out, the 911 notification to those who were signed up?
Well, that's what we were saying. There was not a notification that went out because there was not concern for the community.
Can I ask one last question? Is there a place that media is allowed to gather for live shots this afternoon, a specific location where we'll be permitted to go live and have footage?
Not on Eastman property, Julie. As most of you have done earlier today, the locations would be public locations near the site, but we're not, for safety reasons, if you can imagine, we're not allowing people on site today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Julie. WJHL, your hand is raised. OPR WJHL Idias 8. Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, it's Bianca here. Yeah, we have a few questions regarding the steam pipes. We were just wondering how long the pipes were. At which point was the failure occur in the line? Was it inside of a building or outside of a building? If it was in fact inside of the building, what kind of operations occurred inside that building, and how many folks were on shift during the failure?
I appreciate the question. As you can imagine, we're in the process of investigating the extent and the root causes. I would expect that we'll have additional detail in the coming weeks on the extent of the impact and the location of those lines. They're utility lines, so I can confirm that, and the relative source of that are typically not inside buildings in terms of the impact of what the community heard, but relative to length of the pipe and root cause and contributing factors, we'll be communicating that as our investigation proceeds.
Alrighty, thank you. And then do we know if any damage occurred to any buildings? And then if there was any damage, will we know what kind and so forth? And then lastly, I was just wondering if we knew whether the folks who were injured today, do we know the extent of their injuries? I know you guys released that it was minor injuries, but do we know if it was like burns or if something fell on them? Do we have any specifics like that?
Yeah, I'll just answer the first part of your question first. Based on what we know to date, there is no significant building damage. That doesn't mean that all operations will return to normal, as if nothing occurred within hours is what I refer to. We have a protocol that gives guidance into which processes start up in which order to make sure that there's an orderly and safe restart. And that will be what we're stepping through in the next few days. In terms of employee impact and those that are injured, as Betty mentioned earlier, we're very thankful that the injuries were assessed and released today for all 5 of those employees. That include both internal and contracted employees. Based on what we understand from that today, they are all relatively minor and no significant lasting injuries that we're aware of.
Awesome. And then lastly, we were just wondering, I know you guys mentioned that you will be having the debris analyzed, but we were just wondering if you have any idea what the debris was. I mean, it looked like some sort of insulation. And then if you have any advice to the people in the neighborhoods surrounding Eastman proper on what they could do to safely clean up. As you can imagine, it landed on their houses and their yards, on their cars. Just sort of, do you have any advice on how they might be able to clean up?
Yeah, I can reinforce that we would definitely encourage our community neighbors not to speculate on what the source of that is, but there is a phone number that we would encourage our community team members to call. It's 229-CARE, C-A-R-E, to report the impact and certainly leave their name. There'll be guidance that is recorded on that phone service to give timely feedback to the community neighbors. As Betty mentioned earlier, the samples of that debris have been collected and are being analyzed by our lab personnel in addition to a third party to confirm the content. And we'll be communicating that as we get feedback on that.
And I'm so sorry, but I have one more question. I know you guys mentioned that some operations were halted, but I just wanted to clarify whether all operations at the plant were halted or just certain ones. And then are there certain processes that sort of cannot be halted? And just what sort of went into the shutdown, so to speak, and what sort of manpower are we expecting will go into the restart, so to speak?
Yeah, we go through a safe shutdown process across the entire TNO site, the entire Tennessee operations site, when there are systems impacted that are connected or integrated with certain utilities. There are systems that do not shut down that are tied to our environmental control devices. So we ensure that we have condensing capabilities on tanks, that systems aren't venting and releasing materials that would be harmful to the environment. Those do not shut down, but our operating processes that we can safely shut down and secure in a ordered state are what we take down, and those are the activities that occurred earlier this morning.
We have a question from Jeff Keeling. Do investigators have any solid clues about the cause of this accident? And if so, where are those clues pointing?
It's very early, just hours from the event, as you can well imagine. And so we have a principal investigator assigned, and they will be stepping through a root cause assessment to make sure that we have accurate information before systems are restarted and to ensure that we can continue operation in a safe manner. So I can't speculate on the cause at this point.
Additional questions from Jeff Keeling. A few questions about the steam pipes. What was the source of the steam? Heat from operations being diverted away, heat from energy sources being used to provide energy for operations, or something else? How long had the section of pipe affected been in use, when it had been last inspected, and what had been the results of that inspection?
So I might ask you to state one of those at a time so I can make sure I answer it thoroughly.
Sure.
But our steam systems are used for all sources of heat within our facility. They are used to provide heat for our processes, and they are also used to provide energy and heat to our buildings. And what was your second question?
The additional questions, how long had the section of pipe affected been in use, and when was it last inspected?
We have a preventative maintenance program that is very thorough, that is required assessments on a periodic basis based on the length of use and the risk for each area. So that system would have been inspected and assessed on a routine cycle that typically occurs on an annual basis.
I do not have any additional questions in the queue at this moment.
Okay, well, with that, we want to thank everyone again for making time to be with us this afternoon. As you can imagine, this is still very early in the process. As more information becomes available and we have updates to share, we'll be sharing those with you as we have throughout the day today. In the meantime, if you have additional questions, please feel free to email those or send those to Brad Lyford. His contact information has been on the media advisories that have been coming out earlier today, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we have more information to release. So
Betty,
thank you again, everyone.
We have one last question from WCYB. How long does an investigation into the cause likely take?
Well,
Michelle, you'll need to unmute and repeat your response, please.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We typically follow a very assertive process when it comes to managing time in investigations like this. It isn't uncommon for investigations and operations issues to occur on the order of weeks. Certainly, we expect to be getting initial insights within the next 7 to 14 days.
Also a question in from Jeff Keeling. What entities has Eastman had to report to? TEMA, TDEC, TOSHA?
I will make a quick statement on that. What you would expect from any operation that's responsible in the way that Eastman is we have immediate contact with our regulatory bodies that is consistent with any operations event, and in particular one that's sourced from utilities. That's no different. So we've been in touch with the state related to our current operations. That's for both employee safety as well as any environmental questions.
Now we have no more questions.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everyone and for taking time to be with us this afternoon. And again, we'll be providing updates as more information becomes available. Thank you very much.